Hello and welcome, my name is Haas, and this is some more Overwatch Beta gameplay. Yet again, we are playing as Hanzo the Archer, but unlike the previous two games, this is some assault gameplay as opposed to defense. Defense is certainly a better role for Hanzo, but, well, here on the Watchpoint Gibraltar map, we'll be seeing how he actually fares in a match where you have to keep moving forward to actually win. So first things first, on this map, on this Watchpoint map, it's really great to stand in this circular room so you can see the entire enemy team and you know what you're up against. You can't actually look at their heroes, you have to actually spot them yourself, and I know that they probably have a Widowmaker at this point, so I go over here just to place the sensor arrow. I do not want to stand there because I'll be shot in the face. I do see that they have a Widowmaker over there. I try and line up a shot and immediately take out their enemy Widowmaker, so now it's much more safe for me to move out there, because if they have a Widowmaker on defense, you're probably gonna get headshot really quickly. So with Widowmaker down, I climb up here, only to find out, surprise surprise, they had a second Widowmaker I didn't see, so I make the mistake here of jumping off. Of course, when I jump off, I make myself even more vulnerable than I already am. I should have just gone for the draw, basically, try and see if I can headshot her at the same time. Widowmaker probably would have just stepped to the side and dodged my arrow anyway, but it would have been better than this meaningless jump off of the building. Now, you might have noticed they didn't actually see us when we stood in that circular room. It's great at the beginning to actually try and spot your enemies, because again, you can't actually see them when you look at like the hero list. So I climb up here. One thing you may have noticed, I cannot really go down there and push the payload, which is how we're going to win. That's obviously one of the main flaws of Hanzo. You have to take some range, you have to have a height advantage preferably, and you cannot do that when you stand downstairs in that tunnel with the payload. So I immediately climb back up here as well, while the fighting is going on. So right now I'm just trying to pick off heroes while the rest of my team hopefully pushes. I do hit them here with a scatter arrow. I see the first rocket pass me and I thought it was an ally, but it turned out not to be an ally as I got hit afterwards. But I turn around, immediately kill Pharah, who failed to kill me barely. I'm only on 2 health. So I'm going to check with this scatter arrow here, and then the sensor arrow, make sure no one's in here so I can pick the health. That always spawns over here. I see a Symmetra, but I immediately see the Widowmaker up there, who luckily doesn't hit me. I do pick off the Symmetra, but then the combination of the sentry turret from Symmetra, which was down there, which I didn't know, and the actual normal body shot from Widowmaker does take me out. Quite unfortunate. But I do have Dragon Strike up. I did a good amount of damage early on. I took out a few of their heroes. So we're doing fine. We've already got it past the first checkpoint at this point. And as I move back, I hear some combat going on inside the tunnel that the payload just went through, so I go and check it out. Now, obviously, one of the major benefits, as you might notice, from playing Hanzo, even in an assault composition like this, is the actual vision you grant with Sensor Arrow. It's very useful as I try and take down this Tracer. I do indeed take her down with 2 well-aimed body shots. She only has 150 health, so as I said in the previous 2, or at least one of them videos, she isn't that much of a threat most of the time. As long as she doesn't immediately get close before you've touched her, you should be able to win against a good Tracer. Just fine. I climb up here, again making much use of the passive wall climb that Hanzo has to get into a superior position. I see an enemy Pharah. I don't want to stand there. She's just going to get very easy shots off of me. I shoot scatter shot, hit her critically, but don't actually kill her. I don't really want to go in there and, well, get hit in the face with a rocket, or I have to also be careful, of course, of the enemy Widowmaker. As this Tracer tries to razz me, I immediately go back to get the health, because I only had a 50 health at that point, and I'm not going to win with 50 health against an enemy Tracer. I thought she was going to move towards me, so I used Scatter Shot, ended up being a whiff. Anyway, I go back here, because I don't really want to be messing with Tracer, or at least not Chaser. Still, she goes after McCree, so I figure now's my chance to actually kill her. Scatter Shot yet again misses though, but 2 quick hits after she gets stunned by McCree does the job just fine. Now I have to be incredibly careful of the enemy Widowmaker. She was firing at me a second ago or so, so she is somewhere around here. And there's the enemy Pharah. I yet again move upwards, as I didn't see Widowmaker on either of these positions. She could be on the shuttle. There she is, in fact, on the shuttle. As I try and hit her, quite risky, but I didn't die, nor did I kill her, so nothing happened off of it. I do kill Tracer. As I try and see where Widowmaker's at, I'm figuring she's still up on there, so use Sensor Arrow. I don't want to do this. I'm not going to move in there. She hits McCree in the foot, so I really don't want to stand there, because she's just going to get a free headshot off if I do that. Pharah is inside the shuttle at this point. The scatter shot doesn't actually hit anything though, because she's probably on the other side of it. I do pick someone off here as Tracer moves in on me. I use Scatter Shot, doesn't quite kill her, but she's very weakened, so I can now actually chase her. As I try and move to take her down, I do indeed do so. And I see Symmetra. I miss Symmetra as I try and hit underneath the payload. A quick scatter shot does take care of her though, and then there's the enemy turret, which does a lot of damage. I know there's 2 enemies over there, so I do use Dragon Strike. In fact, I take out 2 enemies exactly. But one thing you should be aware of, right here you can see the turret didn't get destroyed. Dragon Strike doesn't harm any objects like Symmetra's turrets or Torbjorn's turrets. Here I take, I think, the healing that Tracer was going for. Sorry, Tracer, but you can move around the field a bit more quickly than I can, so you should be fine and find some other healing anyway. Meanwhile, I try and see what's going on the payload. I don't have any allies on the payload, so I can't move over there. Again, one of the weaknesses of Hanzo, you have no escapes. You can't move over to the payload on your own, as I get taken out by this well-placed Helix rocket from Soldier 76. Unfortunate, but he did time it extremely well, so there you go. A minor setback indeed. As I move back towards the point, we're doing quite well. We have 3 minutes and 40 seconds left. That is absolutely more than enough. We have, I believe, 2 checkpoints left to go, and then we've actually won. So we're doing quite well. I use sensor arrow here to see what is going on. We're almost on this checkpoint right here. I see nothing, except I saw someone move there. I see a Torbjorn who is already wounded, so even though I didn't hit him on his head, he did die. I take 2 shots to kill Widowmaker. I wasn't sure if she was sniping through the whole way, so I didn't want to take the time to line up an actual headshot. And instead, I just body shot her twice. That works just fine. She only has 200 health. I see Farah, but I can't really take her out. She's flying somewhere in the distance there. I try, but nothing comes of it. I do hit someone here. Might have been Symmetra. I do indeed take her out with a scattershot right afterwards. Scattershot off of these stairs there. Stairs are always tricky to hit though, as I try and take down this turret. Because with stairs it can bounce into multiple different ways. Scattershot, of course, directly moves to the other side of where you hit it. And here we have Farah again, flying around her payload, being very annoying as I try and hit. I think it's again Symmetra. And indeed, yet again, I take Symmetra out with a scattershot. Here we have Tracer move past. I don't quite headshot her there. I was only a few millimeters off, but it's more than enough for her to kill me. As you can see, if you don't actually hit her before she gets to you, she becomes a big problem. She can get some easy headshots off with their SMG, and you will die very rapidly. So that didn't quite work. But hey, let's be nice to Tracer. Let's have her kill us at least once this game before we start killing her again. We have 4 minutes left to get the payload, 1 more checkpoint further. This also means we won't get any extra time. I see some Widowmaker shots, but they're allied, so I'm not too worried. But there appears the enemy Widowmaker, so now I have to watch out. I try and hit her while immediately moving back not to get headshot. And I duck behind the payload in order not to actually die. I sadly don't pick her off though, but someone else did. Then I see the enemy Tracer, get some nice revenge, not this time Tracer, as I kill her with Scattershot. And there's Symmetra. I notice they have an enemy teleporter right over there as I saw the yellow particle effect, but I do get pushed back by Farah, so I use Dragon Strike in order to hit them inside the building. Didn't work out, all of them moved away apparently. Big shame. As I climb up on top of this building, see if I can't get a vantage point. And I try and look inside the building, see where they're actually at. I don't see anyone. I have to be careful that they're not like a Farah jumping behind me at this point. I see a Torbjorn and I see a Symmetra standing in positions I can't really hit them. So I go off of the building, try and see if I can't hit them from here. I do take out a sentry turret, but that is so meaningless. As I try and shoot inside the building where they likely have the teleporter. I do hit someone, probably Torbjorn with the scattershot, but doesn't end up killing him. I use a sensor arrow, see if I can't actually spot them while they're moving around there. I do indeed see Torbjorn there and Symmetra. No new information is actually gained by that, but hopefully my ally team now knows where they're at and might actually go out and kill them because I can't run in there as Hanzo. That will mean a dead Hanzo. So I do climb back up. I quickly check who's alive and who isn't. I know Widowmaker is still around there. I actually saw her right there. So I have to be careful as I get absolutely ravaged by this enemy turret. So I jump all the way down, try not to die. I see the enemy Widowmaker who was looking down that little street. I take her out quite easily. And now I see Torbjorn moving in my position. And I have to be very careful here. As he comes around the corner, I don't quite headshot him, the little bastard. I hit him once. And now I can't quite hit him. I hit him with Scattershot, but don't actually finish him off. And then suddenly there's a Symmetra turret right behind me, which ended up being my undoing, unfortunately. So those 4 minutes we had a moment ago have now turned into a little less than 2 minutes. Which should be more than enough to actually get the payload that tiny bit further that it needs to be, but considering we have no one actually pushing the payload, this would have been a good time to actually switch out and get a more tankier hero, for instance. Because apparently no one else is actually pushing the payload either, successfully. And here we have the enemy Tracer, who I don't quite hit as she jumps away just as I try and hit her. She uses her sticky bomb, doesn't get anything out of it, luckily. And I go back to heal up. and climb yet again up into the building, see if I can't get a better vantage point. I hear the Pharah ultimate, but luckily it's an allied one, so I don't worry about it, although she immediately dies, so probably not the best placed one for her either. And I hear some Widowmaker shots in the distance. So I try and see if I can't take a look. And if I can't take out Widowmaker, I see Pharah, easy kill, and I see Widowmaker. I hit her once, not quite a headshot, as I quickly have to run in here because of the turret. Now, sadly, she did notice what I was doing, and does headshot me, or at least kill me the moment I run around the corner. I was, of course, weakened. Let's see, did she actually headshot me here? Yes, she did. Alright, so even because I was wounded, it didn't matter. It was a headshot anyway. So at this point, I have Dragon Strike up. I don't want to actually switch a hero, because your entire ultimate progression gets lost as soon as you switch. And Dragon Strike here could be amazing to get the final push going, as I use a scatter shot to see if Widowmaker wasn't still in there and I could kill her. Ended up not being the case. We get some side from the enemy Widowmaker, so I do use Dragon Strike here way too early. I should have saved it, even though it did end up damaging quite a few heroes here. No kills, so it didn't actually gain as much. And here, yet again, big mistake. I do headshots, or at least kill the enemy Pharah, but I should have picked up that little health crate a bit earlier, so I would have survived that one little volley of hits from her ultimate, and I wouldn't have actually died there myself. And now it gets very close within over 10 seconds. There's absolutely no way I'm going to get back there in time. I could have switched out to maybe Tracer and try and see, but it doesn't matter. We have lost at this point, sadly. Reaper is just trying to annoy us. And that, right there, is the game, as we have no one pushing the actual payload. Thank you for watching. My name has been Haas, and I'll see you in the next video.